That's one way of animating in. And as I said before in class, the shapes you use to create your objects will alter how your animation will go and the order things come in. So we're going to make this shape a different way. And in class we did two squares that we rotated. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to add, make sure nothing's selected. Command Shift A deselects all. Command A selects all. I'm going to go Layer New, Shape Layer. I'm going to add a rectangle, and I'm going to add a fill. And this one I'm just going to keep red just for the fun of it. I'm going to scale it up. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this layer by pressing Command D with the shape layer selected. So now we've got two of them. The bottom one I'm going to press R for rotate, and I'm going to rotate it 15 degrees. The top one I'm going to select, hit R, and I'm going to rotate it minus 30 degrees. That's how we did it in class to get that same shape. Now I'm going to do Layer, New, Solid. Oops, nope, don't want that, sorry. Forget that. Layer, New, Shape Layer. Add Ellipse. Add Fill, and this will be the color of the background. So we're going to make it black because our background is black. Now I'm going to scale this up using my black arrow tool, selecting a point, dragging, and then hold down Shift to constrain the proportions. And there we have it. Okay, so this one I'm just going to hit the U key to close that layer. U and U, so there's no keyframes. The first layer I'm going to animate on with scale. So I'm going to hit S for scale, and that one's going to be scale too, so I'm just going to hit S to prepare it. I'm going to have this come in 20 frames. I'm going to add my second keyframe, sorry. I'm going to go back to the beginning, first keyframe, make this 0, so it's going from 0 to 100. I'm going to select both keyframes by clicking and dragging, hover over one, right click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. And now we're going to go to our speed graph. I'm going to click on this button to make my graph bigger and easier to work with. Go click on the bottom frame. I'm just going to send this straight up and move this to there. So it's almost like coming in almost steadily, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a curve. So that's how that one's going to come in. Now I'm going to do the scale for the next one. And I'm going to offset it a couple frames. So I'm going to click there. This one's going to come in 20 frames just like the other one. And I'll do 16. And I'm going to make the first keyframe. I'm going to click this arrow here to go to the first keyframe, the previous keyframe. I'm going to make this 0. So let's go from 0 to 100 again. We'll select both keyframes, hover over one, right click, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease. Remember, you must be directly over it for that to work. Click my graph editor, make it a little larger. Now this time, I'm going to have this one come in super fast, and then go out slower. Now, I'm going to zoom out of my timeline. If I go to a layer and I want to move it, but you see this double black arrow. Oops, sorry about that. Fix that. Okay. The double black arrow means you're going to change, you're going to change how the layer enters. Like this is the in point, not moving the layer. See, we're not getting the keyframe. So I'm going to undo that. Command Z. So that's if you have the black arrow, the double black arrow like that. That changes your in or out points. We don't want that. We want the big black arrow like that. So I'm just going to click and drag, move it a few frames over. So now there's going to be an overlap in the animation. And you see the shapes start to come in. So to add a little bit of interest, I'm going to select both of these keyframes on this layer and use the wiggler. I'm going to do wiggle 2 times per second, magnitude 180. Let's see what that does. Nope, not liking that. So I'm just going to change that to 5. Now we've got more keyframes. So you can see the shape is doing it more once it's past the circle. It's doing it all before it passes the circle. That's not what we want. We want that to come in a little differently. So I'm going to add some wiggle to this layer too. I'll up the wiggle on that, and I'll up the wiggle there. So now you see the animation change. I'll have that come in a little bit closer, and I'll shrink down this a little bit so it's not so big. So now as you play it, comes in differently, and that's not a lot of time spent doing that, but you're still adding some visual interest using the wiggler. Of course, you'll spend more time playing around with it. I'm just giving you some ideas on how the shapes you use to create your object will change how it animates in.